The story begins in Jamaica, a small island located 1,000 miles south of the United States. It was a British colony for over 300 years until it finally gained its independence in 1962. Since then, the country has been divided into two rival political parties. First, you have the People's National Party, also known as PNP. This is the Liberal Socialist Party of Jamaica. Typically, the Rastafari culture has championed this party as they represent equity for everyone. On the other hand, you have the Jamaican Labour Party, also known as JLP. This is the conservative party who champions free markets and lack of social services. They pretty much oppose the PNP in every way possible, even beyond political ideology. Just like anywhere, the political parties are on opposite spectrums and don't get along. Except in Jamaica, it's way deeper than you can imagine. Neighborhoods are either affiliated with PNP or JLP, so if one neighborhood is JLP and across the street is PNP, they have to be bitter rivals. This is mainly true in the capital city of Kingston, where things are out of control. Since the 1960s, Kingston has been one of the poorest and most dangerous cities in the world, and most of this is due to the major political rivalry. Originally, children could grow up and choose their own political affiliation, but after years of opposition, it became about which neighborhood you're from. So if you were from a JLP neighborhood, you had to ride with them. Obviously, this created a toxic environment, and we start off in the worst place of them all. Welcome to West Kingston, easily the most dangerous place in all of Jamaica. The area is divided into two neighboring sections. First, you have the Tivoli Gardens, an area built by JLP. The area was once a Rastafari homeless camp and was controversially torn down by the JLP. And for this reason, the People's National Party was infuriated and despised anyone who moved in. Specifically, the community across the street were not fans, to say the least. This would be Denham Town, a strong community of PNP loyalists. One of these people was a man named Lester Lloyd Coke. Growing up, Lester was raised as a PNP ride or die and was taught to hate the opposite JLP. But despite the rough nature of the area, Lester was not initially interested in this life. Instead, he found a job as a locksmith and hoped to make that his career. However, in 1966, tragedy would come his way. At the age of 19, Lester was hit 6 times in the chest and left to die in his own neighborhood. His friends scattered and he figured that it was all over for him. But then out of nowhere, a group of men rushed to his aid. They bravely picked him up and rushed him across the street to the Tivoli Gardens. And there, the JLP doctors ended up saving his life. Lester felt blessed and was extremely thankful for the Tivoli men who saved him. And on the other hand, he was extremely disappointed in the friends he grew up with. So now Lester had the dilemma of a lifetime. He was raised to hate the people who just saved his life. So what do I do? Long story short, Lester Coke moved to the Tivoli Gardens and switched his alliance to JLP. Instantly, all of his friends and family broke ties with him, and now he had to watch his back at all times. So to protect himself, he began running with the Tivoli Gardens' biggest crew. This would be the Phoenix Gang, and they did all of the dirty work for the JLP in West Kingston. Quickly, Lester gained the reputation of being the coldest stepper in West Kingston. No one wanted to run into him, and he was willing to do anything for the JLP. Well, the year is 1976, and things are about to get crazy. Over the previous few years, Jamaica had seen violence like never before. And given that the general election is around the corner, everyone was worried about what could happen. In particular, Jamaica's biggest superstar wanted to make a change. Bob Marley wanted nothing more than peace between the two sides. And although he was championed by the PNP, Bob never pushed a political agenda. All he truly cared about was peace within his community, people over politics. But unfortunately, Bob Marley was thrown in the mix. The PNP candidate Michael Manley decided to use Bob Marley for his campaign. This was bad news because it put his life at risk. The JLP was now after him. 10 days before the election, Bob Marley decided to host a major festival in Kingston. It was a free concert to bring unity before the election. Well, unfortunately, the PNP began advertising the concert as their own. December 3rd, 1976. It's 2 days before the concert and Bob Marley is at his beautiful house on Hill Road. Inside, he and his band are rehearsing for the major show. At 8:30 p.m., Bob's wife arrives in the driveway to bring everyone food. So Bob walks outside to help her out. And as he gets to her car, he notices a man ruffling in the bushes. So he takes a closer look and guess who it is? Lester Lloyd Coke. So instantly Bob turns around to run. Thankfully, Bob and his wife made it after surgery, but still, this enraged everyone in Jamaica. Obviously, he was a national hero, but now he was also gonna miss the concert. Or maybe not. Everyone around Bob told him to skip the concert and to leave Jamaica for his safety. Obviously, Bob knew the risks, but he valued his country's unity over his own safety. December 5th, 1976. Despite Bob being doubtful to come, over 50,000 people showed up hoping to see him. They waited all day until Bob was escorted by hundreds of security into the venue. And at sunset, Bob Marley emerged on the stage and gave the concert of a lifetime. This is one of the greatest moments in Jamaican history, and it all backfired for JLP. People began seeing their true colors and began switching over to PNP. So 10 days later, Michael Manley won the election in a landslide, defeating Edward Sega. And now that PNP was in power, the Jamaica Labour Party and the Phoenix Gang had lost their control. So now the PNP could get revenge for what happened to Bob Marley. In August of 1977, Phoenix Gang leader Charles Massip passed away after getting pulled over by a squad of police officers. The officers claimed that he was the aggressor and they acted in self-defense. However, everyone knew the truth that it was PNP flexing their power. Lester Coke was infuriated, and now it was his time to step up as a leader. He had waited over a decade for this position, so you know that he was more than ready. By this time, the Tivoli Gardens were depleted, and now it was his mission to get them back into power.